and we're getting everything set up to stream live, and I'll be starting our recording in just a moment. We're getting everything set up to stream live, and I'll be good. We're streaming. Excellent. All right, great. San Francisco, we've got Cincinnati, we've got Nigeria, we've got Maryland, New York. Joyce, how are you? From Bermuda, Sweden, England, India. Great. It's going to be a really interesting webinar today. So I know you can't see me. I'm going to come into the screen just a moment, get us started on this other recording. All right, I think we're all set. Good. It's great to see all of you here today. As you know, my name is Michael Williams. Some of you may not know that, but I'm sure you do. And we have a lot to cover today. So I'm just going to be checking every now and then the chat to make sure that you can still hear me. My batteries are good, but sometimes they do run out. So I just want to be sure that things are working well. And you will get a copy of or a replay of today by email. And like I said, we have a lot to cover today. So let's go ahead and get started. One of the things that we'll be doing a little later is I'll be introducing a very good friend of mine and colleague, and his name is Tom. You can probably see his name at the top. You might have seen his video earlier. So we'll be having him share a little bit with us about what he's going to be doing to help us smooth out our speech and start to speak more clearly and confidently. So the first thing that I want to do today is to just welcome you all. Thank you all for investing your time today. We're going to be moving quickly because we do have a lot to cover, and I really want to have most of that done within the hour, and then we'll leave some time for question and answer at the end. But first, I want you to think about something, and if you'd like to share this, go ahead and type it into the chat box. Now, before I get to that, let me just back up a few little logistics. If you have a question, it's best for you to put that in the question and answer box. There's a little menu and an item there where you can select to ask a question. That's the best place to put your questions. Try not to put them in the chat. Now, if some of you are on a device where you don't see that, then okay, put them in the chat. But if people are saying things, I may not actually see that. So if you have a question, put that in the question and answer box, the question and answer area, right? So there should be a place for you to select that. If you just have something that you want to say, then for sure, go ahead and put that in the chat box, okay? Good. Now, here's the question that I have for you, and that is, what is it in 2017 that you wanted to do but didn't do because of your speech? And you're going to do it, and you intend to do it, you like to do it in 2018. So what is, I want you to think of just one thing. All right, just take a moment, settle down, and think for just a moment. What's one thing this year, 2017, at the recording of this video, one thing you didn't do because of your speech that you want to do in 2018? Okay, think about that. And I'll just give you some examples. Some things may include interviewing for a job. That is a job within your company. Going for a completely different job in another company. Going back to school. Starting your own business. Right? Being more social. What's one thing that you wanted to do this year, 2017, that you didn't do because your speech limited you? You didn't do it. You avoided it. You didn't do it. Or maybe you tried to do it and didn't do well. Okay. Maybe you were doing it and quit, right? So one thing that you wanted to do this year, 2017, that you didn't do because of your speech, that you want to do in 2018, one thing. Write that down for me if you feel like sharing it, but I definitely want you to think about it. I want you to remember it as we're moving through this entire webinar. I want you to think about that. Here's a second question, which is related, but it's distinct. And that is, what's one thing that you've either always wanted to do or that you'd like to do in the next year or so that you didn't do because of your speech, right? So it's not necessarily something that you didn't do this year. It's just something that maybe you've been dreaming about, something maybe you've always wanted to do. Or it could be something that if you were an excellent speaker, you would do this, right? If you were an excellent speaker, excellent communicator, you would do this thing. Right? So maybe you want to become a public speaker, a professional speaker. Maybe you want to take on a different position. Maybe you want to become a professor. Maybe you want to get your PhD. So it's something that you would do if you were an excellent speaker. Think about that. Okay, just one thing now. All right, so there's two questions. They can be the same thing or they can be different. One is more of a dream, so something that you would do, you've always wanted to do, right? Something that you would do if you were an excellent speaker. Think about that. And then something very, very specific that, hey, I didn't do that this year because of my speech, and I want to do that in 2018. Think about those two things. Write them down. They're very, very important. Okay? All right. Now, today, we're going to talk about three, and you may hear me talk about these as basic building blocks, but three building blocks of smooth speech. Three basic building blocks of smooth speech. And these building blocks are critically important. They're the foundation of smooth speech. So first thing I want to do is to share with you where these building blocks came from and why they're so important for you. So as many of you know, I've been doing this work for several years now. I have worked with hundreds and hundreds of clients and done this for hundreds of hours, literally. Experienced this myself, done loads of research and observation, and virtually every one of my clients and successful students have said that these three things, at least these are the three things that have helped them the most, okay? So over the years, I've been able to see patterns as I'm working with people, and people have told me these are the things that have helped me the most. So every week, as I'm talking to my coaching clients and I'm having them share with our community their successes, and then I have them not only share their success, but what helped them the most, which skills, which techniques or strategies helped them the most, and then what did they do to get there? And they share very similar things. So I want to ask you, this is something I do want you to type into the chat box. For those of you that have been in the Pro 90 speech system for a while, you've been taking the courses or you've been watching the free videos, you've been taking advantage of the free courses, the paid courses. What is one or two things, maybe even three, that's helped you the most? I want you to think about the one or two techniques or strategies. Some of you call them tricks or tips. I don't like to call them tricks or tips, but if you want to call them that, it's fine. What are the one, two, or three techniques, strategies, skills, tips, or tricks that's helped you the most? Type that into the chat box now. Now, I can't see it, so I'm going to come look at it a little later. Just type that in there. So this is for those of you that have been following me for a while and you've been practicing and you've been using this. I just want you to type in the one, two, or three things that's helped you the most. And I'm not even going to give you any hints because I just want to see what you're going to say. All right. So the reason that virtually all of you are here today is because you're on my mailing list. You got an email about these three building blocks of smooth speech. And it's because you've been struggling with your speech one way or another, right? You have been limited by your speech one way or another. That is, you've not been able to express yourself in the way that you want it. You've not been able to say what you want to say, when you want to say it, the way you want to say it. You have avoided situations, getting coffee, ordering the food that you want, making telephone calls, expressing or communicating or articulating your thoughts in meetings, right? And so these are all things that you've been avoiding or that you've been struggling with. Going for job interviews, going back to school. Some of you have actually, I just talked to a young lady who quit school because of her speech. I've talked to people who've literally quit good jobs because of their speech. So there are those of you out there who are struggling with that. There are those of you out there who have jobs and interviews that are coming up. They're on the horizon. They're coming up this month, or they're coming up next month. There are those of you that have gotten new jobs, and you're going to have a greater speaking responsibility, right? And so you're struggling with that. It's causing you a lot of anxiety, and you're worrying about it, right? So I want you to think about that, okay? I want you to think about that because you're here for a reason. And one of the reasons is that you want to get rid of that. You want to fix that. You don't want to worry. You don't want to be thinking about or worrying about your speech anymore. You want to order the food you want to order. You want to be able to introduce yourself. You are intelligent. You want to be able to stand up and say what you want to say in meetings. You want to be able to go for those job interviews. You want to be able to interact and engage more socially, right? You want to be able to talk to family members and friends. You want to be able to go out and maybe date if you're not married. If you are married, then of course you don't want to be dating someone else, right? So you want to be able to go out and interact more socially. But your speech has been limiting you and holding you back, right? So you're looking for resources, you're looking for solutions that work. That's why you're here today. And if you've been following me, you know that I'm going to give you solutions that work. So today, let's talk about these three basic building blocks of smooth speech. And remember where they came from. They came from my own experience, yes. They came from research, yes. But they came from my observation of people just like you. You'll hear me say this again, but I've worked with people from all around the world, all different languages, all different cultures, all different religions. I've worked with many people who are doctors, surgeons. I've worked with people who are entrepreneurs. I am working with people like that now. I've worked with people who have become doctors while they're working with me. Worked with two people just recently who just got their PhDs. Worked with engineers, worked with mothers, nurses, all kinds of different people, doesn't matter. Students. And they've told me that these are the things that's helped them the most. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So the way this will be structured is I'm going to share with you what the building blocks are, and then I'm going to give you just one technique or one strategy that you can use to implement, right, to take advantage of these building blocks, okay? All right, so first building block that we're going to talk about is this. Write this down. Is having a relaxed and flexible mindset. So the first building block is to have a relaxed and flexible mindset. Now, there's been some research done about mindsets, right? And about having a fixed or growth mindset. In fact, I'm going to get in here and I want to get the name of that book for you right now. It's called Mindset, right? By Carol Dweck. Mindset by Carol Dweck. You want to look that up. And I've got a couple of other books that I may reference. And what she talks about, these two types of mindsets. One's fixed and one's a growth mindset. I call it a flexible mindset. And just briefly, the person that has a fixed mindset is generally someone who says, I can't do this. Or it's someone who feels like a victim, like something has happened to them and they can't change it. It's someone who, if they're not successful, they feel like they're a failure. If they fail, they feel like they are a failure. So if I mess up, if I can't say what I want to say, if I get stuck, if I stutter, then I'm a failure, or I'm not as successful as I could be, right? I'm not saying everyone's like that, right? Of course, not all of you out. Some of you are extremely successful, even though you struggle with your, I'm just saying some people who have this fixed mindset. They feel like I can't do this. I've tried that. Stuttering is a disease. Stuttering is something that it's a disability. It's something I'm stuck with. I'm not arguing that it's a disability or not. I'm just saying they believe that they're stuck with it. So they have this fixed mindset. And if they're not successful, they feel like this is who they are. It defines who they are. Their failures define who they are. When they get stuck, it defines who they are. They also feel like they don't want to try new things because if they fail, then, oh my goodness, now what am I going to do? I tried my best. I tried this program. It didn't work. Now what? So now they're feeling less hopeful. They're feeling discouraged. They're feeling doubtful, more doubtful than they were before they tried. Does that make sense? Fixed mindset. The growth mindset is someone that says, yeah, I messed up. I got stuck or whatever, but I can do something about this. I can change. I can improve my talents. I can improve my skills. I can change the way I speak. I can change the way I think. So it's someone that has a mindset that says, I can grow, I can change, I can learn. Okay. The Pro-90 speech system is designed for people that have a growth mindset, because otherwise you're simply going to quit, right? You're going to get into it because you're going to fail. We're all going to fail. You're going to mess up. You're going to get stuck. But if you have a growth mindset, then you're going to say, wow, okay, yeah, I messed up, but I'm still improving. I'm getting a little better. And I know this is going to take time. And you're going to talk to yourself. You're going to encourage. You're going to be encouraged by the community. You're going to let the content encourage you and instruct you and guide you. And you're going to keep working until you reach your goal. A person with a fixed mindset is going to say, I tried this. I got stuck. I was working hard. I was doing everything you said, Michael, was I still got stuck. Now what, right? So the Pro-90 speech system is designed for people who have a growth mindset. Now, the good news is that you can change your mindsets, right? You can change your mindsets from fixed to growth, all right? This webinar is not designed to help you do that. It's just to let you know that you can change your mindsets. But if you have a fixed mindset, then this is not the program for you right now. It may be in the future. So it's someone, so the first building block, and there's 3 of them, remember, is to have a relaxed and flexible mindset. So I call it a flexible mindset. So what do I mean when I say flexible mindset? I mean someone that believes that with practice and with training, you can change the way you think and the way you speak. Does that make sense? Because, and I've said this before, and I know you've heard, but I have to say it again. The way you and I think and speak, and for most people, speaking too fast, getting stuck, stammering, stuttering, fear of public speaking, are all patterns of thinking and patterns of speaking, patterns of behavior, right? It's both. It's not just one. For some people, yes, just purely a pattern of speaking, and that's it. But for most people, it's also a pattern of thinking. So when I say pattern of thinking, what do I mean? I mean, you actually anticipate that you're going to get stuck, right? You actually anticipate that you're going to get stuck, and so you do, or you avoid. That's all psychological. It's all mental, right? And in fact, maybe you speak too fast, or maybe you actually are getting stuck, maybe not getting enough air, right? So it's a pattern of speaking. So when we say you have a flexible mindset, what we're saying is that you believe that you can change that because you and I can change our patterns of thinking and we can change our patterns of behavior. Does that make sense? These are also skills that we can learn, right? We can learn how to change the way we think, how we respond. We can learn how to change the way that we speak. Okay, we can learn to speak more smoothly, clearly, and confidently. These are all learnable skills. So this is a person with a flexible mindset. They believe they can do it. They don't feel like they're a victim. If you feel like you're a victim of stuttering, there's nothing that you can do, then do not invest your money in the Pro-90 speech system because you're going to give up. Now, you can change that mindset, but don't invest your money until you do. Take advantage of some of my free content, right? Like the 21 steps that will help you shift your mindset. I don't want people investing their money, getting in, and then quitting because they already feel like they're a victim, right? Take advantage of the free stuff. Okay. Now, there's another part to this, a relaxed and flexible mindset. We talked about flexible. Let's talk about relaxed. What do I mean when I say relax? And then we're going to say how, and we're going to move to the next building block. We say relaxed mindset, we're talking about someone who says to themselves, just relax, slow down, take your time. You can say what you want to say, right? You say to yourself, slow down, just relax, take your time. You can say what you want to say. So a person with a relaxed mindset is someone who has or is becoming a more relaxed person, right? You and I know that in many situations, in many cases, the more relaxed we are, the better we speak. Now, this isn't 100% true. There are some people who, even by themselves or with their family, when they're totally relaxed, there's still certain things that they get stuck on. I understand this. It's happened to me. Totally relaxed. I'm not stressed. I'm not anxious. Still get stuck. All right. But for the most part, most people and in most situations, we speak better when we're more relaxed, when we're calmer, right? We speak better. So these are not absolutes, but they're generally true. So when we're more relaxed, when we can slow down, when we can take our time, we find that we can speak smoother, clearer, and more confidently. In fact, there's another book called Presence by Amy Cuddy. And this is something that you're going to want to take a look at, because in her book, she talks about, it's called Presence by Amy Cuddy, and she talks about how people who speak slower feel more powerful. They project more power and confidence. When you take your time, and there's been research and studies done on this, right? In fact, I'll get you the quote, but there were some studies done that show that people who are willing to slow down and take their time, they understand that, hey, there are going to be some people who are not going to want to wait and listen. There are going to be some people who are going to be rushing. But when they slow down and they take their time, they feel more confident. They feel more in control. They're projecting greater power and confidence. This is so true. This is so true. Not only have I seen it personally, I've helped other people experience it in their life. Okay? Very, very important. So, learning to relax, learning to slow down and take your time can help you feel more powerful, feel more in control, feel more confident, and project that confidence. So how can you feel more relaxed? And then let me just give you an example. I've had many, many clients over the years, and some very recently, who have said that this program has not only helped them feel more relaxed with relation to their speech, but just feel more relaxed in general. They've become more relaxed people. They've become more relaxed people. One guy who I'm working with, he said that he used to walk around just frowning almost all the time. In fact, someone said, why do you frown all the time? Because he said that he felt like he was constantly stressed, right? Just like that. And he said this program has helped him now not frown as much, right? But he just says he just doesn't hardly frown. He doesn't feel as anxious. He doesn't feel stressed. Something that we call the halo effect. He's not the only one who's told me this. I've had other clients who've said that because of the system, they felt more relaxed in other areas of their life. They've become more relaxed people. They've learned to slow down, slow life, to be more present. Okay. So something called the halo effect, which means as you're improving in one area of your life, there's this halo that then begins to spill over and the impact, right? The benefits that you derive from improving in that one area spill over in halo reflects in other areas of your life. Does that make sense? So as you become more disciplined and as you develop habits of working on your speech and improving your speech, that discipline also spills over into other areas of your life, discipline in eating, discipline in meditating. As you become more relaxed with your speech, you become more relaxed in other areas. I've had people say, well, when I get angry and when I do this, and now they're becoming less angry, right? Less anxious and less stressed. So this not only helps you with your speech, but it helps you in other areas of your life. So how do you do it? Very, very simple. One thing that you have to learn to do, and listen to this, this is very important. This is the how. You have to learn how to control your train of thinking. You have to listen. Are you listening? You have to become the conductor of your train of thinking so that your train of thinking takes you where you want to go and not someplace else. Okay? So what this means is that you have to learn how to respond as opposed to react. So what you want to start to do is you want to start to affirm and tell yourself all throughout the day, you know what? Just relax, slow down, take your time. You can say what you want to say when you want to say it. You tell yourself, just relax, slow down, take your time. You can say what you want to say when you want to say it, the way that you want to say it. Now, a very important time to say this is when you're stressed, when you're pressured, when you feel like you have to rush, when you're ordering that coffee, when someone's asking you a question, you're on the phone, when you're at the teller, when you're in a meeting and you feel like, I got to get this out right now. Someone asks you your name. Okay, I got to say my name just like this right now. All right. That's when you have to tell yourself, just relax, slow down, take your time. You can say what you want to say. You don't have to rush. I don't have to rush. You can use the word you or I, right? You is a little more powerful, but some people don't like it. So you can say I don't have to rush. I can take my time. So someone says, well, Michael, I tried that, but in the moment I go blank, I freeze up and I just react. You know, I can't think about that. Well, that's their fight or flight response. Okay. This is very, very normal. So you have to develop the habit of talking to yourself, of controlling your train of thinking, of responding in the moment. Does this make sense? So when you learn how to respond in the moment, then what happens is you can learn how to talk to yourself. Because have you ever been in the moment and you felt or you heard yourself say, you're going to get stuck, you're going to get stuck. So if you have time to say you're going to get stuck, you're not going to be able to say this, or what are other people thinking about me? Then you have time to say, relax, take your time. You don't have to rush. Does this make sense, right? You have time to say the other thing, so you have time to say this as well. It's just a habit that you have to develop. All right. So how do you implement these new mindsets? Relaxed, flexible mindset. You have to talk to yourself. You tell yourself you can relax. You can take your time. You can say what you want to say when you want to say it. This is a habit. This is a new pattern of thinking for you that you can develop just by practicing it and by doing it. And it doesn't mean it's going to work the first time, the first 10 times. You just keep doing it, just like a push-up. You do one push-up and, I can't do 10 push-ups, but I can do one. All right, so you do the one push-up and then you keep doing it, and all of a sudden you're ready to do 2 push-ups. Then you do 3. So it's like a muscle that you're developing, right? Same thing. All right, so you tell yourself, the flexible mindset, the same thing. You talk to yourself and you say, wait a minute, I can do this. Not I can't do this. I try to do, no, I can do this. All I have to do is just learn how to do it. One of my clients, the same client who said that he frowned, he said that now he doesn't worry or get fearful as much, right? We all get worried about stuff. But he doesn't do it as much because now he just focuses on what can I do? It's a growth mindset. All right. So you talk to yourself, you control your train of thinking. This is one strategy that you can use to implement this building block. The first building block. What's the first building block? It has to do with having a relaxed and flexible mindset. The research is there. The second one is something that, believe it or not, all of us have experienced in our life. In fact, you learn most of what you know today as a result of this. You learn how to speak your first language, maybe your second language, as a result of this. This is something that's really built in how we learn. And it's something that every person who's ever accomplished anything great, it's something that they've done as well. And it's modeling. It's modeling someone who speaks smoothly, clearly, and confidently. Because we're talking about speech right now, but you could model someone that does anything that you want to do well. So everyone, I can confidently say that virtually everyone, dating all the way back to the beginning of time, everyone has modeled someone else, right? Everyone has observed someone else doing something. Hey, I like the way they're doing it. Or even as a baby might not be saying, hey, I like the way my mom or dad's walking. I like the way they're speaking, but they're observing, right? This is called observational learning. They're observing the way people around them are doing stuff. And it's just built into their DNA to begin to pattern themselves after that. Oh, hey, They're thinking subconsciously, hey, I'd like to walk. I'd like to be able to talk. How's this person? How are they pronouncing? How's it that take the same baby, put the baby in one country and they speak one language, or put them in one part of a country and they have a certain accent, put them in another part, they have another accent. Why? It's observational learning. They're watching and they're listening and observing how people are speaking. And so they are mirroring that. There's something that's called mirror neurons, and science is really just beginning to kind of get into this. But if you've ever observed someone yawning and then you yawn, or you observe someone speaking fast and then you want to start speaking fast, well, it goes beyond that. If you observe someone who is, for example, doing something that you're familiar with, for example, playing the piano. If you are familiar with playing the piano, you don't even have to be good at it, right? But you're familiar with it. You know how to do it, maybe a little bit, but you observe someone doing something. Well, guess what? In your brain, the neural network that regulates, that controls, that manages playing the piano begins to light up. So you observe someone playing the piano, and the neurons that manage playing the piano in your brain begins to light up because it sees someone else doing the same thing, right? And so those neurons begin to light up. You see people who maybe they played a little football or a little basketball, and they watching a football game, and they see the person throwing, then they start going like that, right? They start throwing, or they start. Why? Because the same neurons in their brain that manages playing football or making that throw begin to light up as they watch someone else does it. This is true. So what we do is we use this fact, this science, to help you create a new pattern of speaking and thinking, right? So you observe a model, you pick a model, and you practice speaking like your model, both in private and in public. This is the how. You pick a model and you practice speaking like your model in private and in public. It's called observational learning, where you can intentionally, or you can subconsciously, right, passively learn from other people. We're talking about intentionally picking someone that speaks smoothly, clearly, and confidently, and patterning yourself, that is practicing speaking like that person privately, so your brain develops an imprint of how they speak, and then practicing that publicly. Is it easy? Of course it's not easy, right? Learning to speak a new language, learning to play an instrument, learning to perform a sport. It's not easy, right? But you can do it. You can do it if you practice it, if you want to do it. If you want to do it, rewind. The first question that I ask you, what is it that you want to do in 2018 that you didn't do in 2017 because of your speech? And what is it that you've wanted to do? What would you do if you were an excellent speaker? I want you to think about the why. Tom's going to talk about that a little bit. When you think about the why do I want to do this? Why? Because if you don't know why, if you don't have a big enough why, you're going to quit. You're going to give up. It's like, why am I doing this, right? why am I going through all of this? I've lived this long, or I can't do this. I've tried. But if you have a big enough why, you're going to stick in there and stick with it until you achieve that goal, until you start speaking. So the second building block is what? It is modeling. It's a model a smooth, clear, confident speaker. It's the way you've learned a lot of things. It's the way people who have become experts in their field have learned. They've had models, they've had coaches as well, right? They've modeled someone to one degree or another. We're talking singers, people who are poets, artists, musicians, sculptors, it doesn't matter, surgeons, right? Model someone else. It's the fastest, believe it or not, it's the fastest and easiest way to create a new speaking style, a new pattern of speaking and thinking. Yes, it's challenging because your brain wants to resist it because it hasn't developed the pattern yet. So of course it's going to feel difficult. It's not going to work at first, but you got to keep doing it. So that's the second one. The third building block has to do with, and this is probably the number one. I want to say if it's not the number one, it's very close. It's probably the number one skill that people say that's helped them the most. And it is maintaining smooth and constant airflow. maintaining smooth and constant airflow. Without this, you can't live. And without this, you can't vocalize or articulate. Can't speak, right? So here we go. We're talking smooth, constant airflow. And there's lots of different ways to accomplish this. You've heard me talk about airflow linking. You've heard me talk about extending and blending. You've heard me talk about free flow speaking exercise. So just talk just a little bit about that. But I have another webinar where I went into depth called Airflow plus Free Flow equals Smooth Speech, something like that. Look that webinar up. It's also obviously in the Pro 90D speech system if you want the full package, a systematic approach. So we're talking about maintaining smooth, constant airflow. So one of the things that happens is people have a difficult time getting started. They block, cuts off the air, right? This is a habit, it's a pattern, it doesn't have to happen. Or they're speaking and they're starting and stopping, they're starting and stopping, right? Speaking in a choppy manner. Or they get to certain letters or words. And sometimes, unfortunately, these letters or words happens to be their name, or it happens to be their job position, or it happens to be their major or their college or something else important. And the brain says, oh, you can't say that. So then it cuts the air off and then you get stuck. Then there's all these psychological effects that start to build around that. Whereas you're like, okay, well now, I don't want to say this. I want to avoid that. I don't want to go here because I know I'm going to have to say this. Does this make sense? Does this resonate with anyone? So what we have to do is we learn to maintain smooth, constant airflow. There's some exercises. One of them is called the free flow speaking exercise. Again, I'm not going to go into it, but I will talk to you a little bit about something called extending and blending. Extending and blending. And extending simply means stretching your words a little bit. And we're not talking about where you do it where you sound weird, like where you sound weird like this. We're not talking about speaking like that. And as a matter of fact, when I speak, I extend many of my words, right? People who speak well, these are all skills. These are all skills. People who speak well often extend some of their words, okay? And so the whole Pro 90 speech system is based on, in fact, we could summarize the Pro 90 speech system. We could summarize it with this quote from Socrates, and it is, the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not some of it, all of it, not on fighting the old, but on building a new. What does that mean? That means we don't focus on stuttering or helping you try to stop stuttering. I know you see that in the title because that's what people are searching for, right? But it's not about stop stuttering, treat stuttering, fix stuttering. It's really about how can I speak smoother and clearer and more confidently? Because here's the thing, just think about this. It's impossible for you to be speaking smoothly, clearly, and confidently. Let's just say 95% of the time. If you've been working on and practicing speaking smoothly, 95%, and you're speaking smoothly 95% of the time, what does that mean? What does that also mean? That means it's impossible for you to be stuttering 95% of the time or 80% of the time, right? If you're speaking smoothly, you can't be stuttering. So if we just focus on building the new, we put all of our energy on building the new, not some of it, and then some of it are trying to stop stuttering or avoid stuttering. I don't want to, let's treat stuttering, let's get rid of stuttering, right? We put all of our energy on speaking smoothly. How do we speak smoothly? What does that look like? What does that feel like? Can we find a model to speak smoothly? Can I practice speaking like this model, right? So we're focusing on building the new. If I focus on that, guess what I'm going to get? I'm going to start getting more and more of that. Does that make sense? That's a law. It's an absolute law, right? That's what the Pro 90 speech system is based on. So when we think about airflow, then we think about a couple of skills and techniques. One of them is called extending and blending, right? Extending and blending your words. So extending is kind of stretching your words somewhat so that you have more control, you're slowing yourself down, and you're able to maintain airflow. Extending and blending. Now, what do I mean by blending? Well, sometimes I call it linking, airflow linking. You've heard of this technique called airflow linking. When you link, you blend your words. It's kind of like this. If you could picture this word, extending and blending, right? These are three words actually. But if you wrote it all together with no spaces, normally you would write it extending, space, and space, blending, right? But if you wrote it all together, extending and blending, then it would sound kind of like that, extending and blending. Now, I want you to hear what I'm doing with the and, both sides of the and. Extending and blending. What am I doing? I'm linking, I'm blending the words, I'm maintaining airflow. Okay, very important. Extending and blending. I'm not allowing my airflow to stop. What if I had problems with vowel sounds like A or so? What if I had problems? So I say, so extending and blending. We're talking about extending and blending, right? So this is, well, what if I have to start with a vowel? Well, usually you don't. You hardly ever do. But if you do, then you start with something else that's not a vowel. Someone says, oh, that's crap. No. I had one person write me who says that they went from being largely disfluent to being fluent by using introductory words. Now imagine that, where you can go from being largely disfluent, not being able to speak, to being fluent by just using some introductory words. This is strategic. You may not always have to use introductory, but if you can begin to build success by using introductory words, then your brain starts believing, hey, I can speak smoothly, starts taking the pressure off, making you feel more relaxed. You start creating successful memories of you speaking. Well, then what happens? Then you stop thinking about speaking. Then you're able to get started without using introductory words if you don't want to. So it's strategic, right? It's not a crutch. It's a strategy to get you there. You don't have to believe me. You can do whatever you want to do, but this works. So extending and blending, what you're doing is you're blending the words together to maintain constant, consistent airflow. So we have exercises to help you learn how to do that, like the free flow speaking exercise, which is you take a super deep breath or you take a deep breath and you continue to speak, right? You don't think about what you're saying, just continue to speak while maintaining airflow. So if I took a deep breath and I just continued to speak like this and kept on speaking, I could speak fast or I could speak slowly and maintain airflow like this until I ran out of air. Then what would happen is I would retrain my brain, retrain my speaking system to maintain airflow, to speak in somewhat longer phrases, right? Not too long, but just long enough to maintain airflow, to kind of create a rhythm and momentum. So airflow is the third building block. Does that make sense? That one is a big one. Almost all of my clients say, well, maintaining airflow, airflow linking, extending and blending. That's the one that's helped me the most. Some clients say, well, it's relaxing, learning how to just relax and slow down and calm down. Not many say, now some say modeling, but it's the modeling that got them there, right? I make all my clients right? I encourage all my clients to do the modeling so that they build a reference, they build up that new speaking style, and then they're able to do the other things. Some will say, it's modeling. When I started modeling, it took my speech to a whole new level. You don't model forever. Modeling is not the end goal for most people. For some it is, but for others, it's not the end goal. It's a tool. It's a bridge to get you there, okay? It just helps you get to where you want to go faster. So 3 building blocks. All my clients have said in one way or another, this has helped me the most, or I've observed this, right? Or both. One was what? Having a relaxed and flexible mindset, absolutely necessary. You can't be tense and tight and anxious and be able to speak well. You're going to be getting stuck and your mind is going to go blank and it's going to get cloudy and you're not going to be able to say what you want to say, right? And you're going to just, okay, so you got to learn to be relaxed. You got to learn to slow down and take your time. How do you do that? Control your train of thinking. Tell yourself, you know what? I can relax. I can slow down. I can take my time. Or you can say, you can relax. You can slow down. You can take your time. You can say what you want to say. Second building block is what? Second building block is modeling, right? You find a model, just one. Yes, you can have 2. It's better just to have one for a period of time. And you practice speaking like that model. You can't just pick a model and say, okay, I like the way that guy speaks. And you watch a couple of videos and then try to speak like him. It may work for some people temporarily, but you got to practice speaking like your model. I spent probably thousands of hours practicing speaking like my model. I spent hundreds of thousands of hours probably watching and studying my model, okay? Literally, and I'm not exaggerating, like years and years of listening and practicing speaking like my model. So you find a model, you pick a model, You practice speaking like your model in private and in public. All right, what else? I'm just looking at the time here. The third building block is airflow, critical. Maintain smooth, constant airflow. How do you do that? You practice free flow speaking, and you practice extending and blending. You practice it both in private and you practice in public when you're speaking to people. Every time you open your mouth, it's practice time. Whenever you open your mouth to speak, it's practice time. Now, what are some of the things that prevent people from implementing these building blocks, from using these building blocks? I'm going to give you 4 things. There are some other things, but I'm going to give you 4 things real quick. One of them has to do with time. People say, well, I don't have the time to practice this. I just don't have the time. Busy with work, got family and stuff. Okay, you have time. Second one is people get distracted, right? They start and then something happens, something comes up in their job, in their family, vacation, right? They get distracted. Some people get discouraged, all right? In fact, most people get discouraged. And then they start slacking and then they give up. And then another thing that happens to people is money. People says, well, yeah, watch your videos, but I know that your system or your coaching is going to give me everything I need, but I don't have the money right now, right? So they don't do anything. And they'll be right back here next year, same struggle. They don't have the money. Some people really don't have the money. That's understandable. 4 obstacles that people face, right? They don't have the time. They say that they don't have the time. They get distracted, discouraged, and don't have the money. So what we've done is we've put together something that I believe will address all those issues. Now, some of you know our private coaching can range anywhere from $3,000 to $3,900 for 12 weeks, right? 12 weeks, $3,000 to $3,900, with an average being about $3,497, $3,497 US dollars. And what we found is there are a small percentage of people who would take the self-study. A small percentage of people would take the self-study, and they would do well. I've got emails from people that's changed my life, been practicing. I always practice. I do it. This is revolutionary. Thank you. All right. Got emails. And I've sent you some of those quotes from people. But that's a small percentage of people that's actually able to do that. It's willing and able to do it. Everyone could do it, but not everyone's going to do it. And there's some reasons why. Then there's a small percentage of people who know, hey, I need one-on-one coaching. I can afford, or I'm going to figure out a way to afford the one-on-one coaching because I want to take my speech and my life, my professional life, personal life to the next level. But there's only a small percentage of people who can do that. I'm only one person who does the Pro 90 speech system right now. We'll be training other people, but I can only handle with so many people. And not everyone around the world can afford from $3,000 to $3,900, right? So what happens is there's a huge number of people who are going unserved, right? People who the self-study is simply not going to help because they don't have any accountability. They get distracted. They don't feel like they have the time when they actually do have the time, and I'll show you. They get discouraged, and so they give up. So they need encouragement. There's no community around them to help them, right? Or they can't do the coaching because maybe it doesn't fit within their budget, okay? Or maybe they just don't need one-on-one coaching. Maybe they need something that's in between one-on-one coaching and the self-study, but we haven't had anything. So we're leaving a huge population of people out there, a huge group of people, many of you are watching now, who maybe you're not ready for, maybe you don't want, maybe financially it's not the right time for you to do the one-on-one coaching. But you've also tried some of the one-on-one stuff, some of the self-study stuff, and you know what, I can't stay focused, right? It's just not enough. I need more accountability. I need feedback. I need encouragement. So we've created something that's going to address that. And it's called an 8-week, it's an intensive 8-week smooth speech boot camp training. 8-week smooth speech. That's a smooth speech boot camp training. It's not coaching, it's training. And what's the difference between boot camp training and coaching? Well, let me just give you an example. So I was in the military, I was going through officers basic course, and for our whole platoon, every day we would get out there and we'd have to do PT, physical training. And we didn't have a personal trainer that came up and said, okay, Michael, let's go ahead and work today on your push-ups, right? No, we had people that, all right, everybody line up, drop, get down, in cadence exercise, 1, 2, 3, right? So everyone had to do the same thing. Doesn't matter where you were at. So if you were weak in push-ups, then guess what you had to do? You had to get out there and you had to get with a friend or someone and you had to do extra push-ups, right, on your own, so that when you came and you got with the larger group, you were able to keep up. This is the same thing. This is intensive. There are certain skills, there are certain exercises that we needed to learn. Push-ups, sit-ups, running, jumping jacks, all kinds of different things. The basic ones were push-ups, sit-ups, and running. So if you were weak in those areas, you had to work on those things by yourself. And we practice as a group. And as a group, they said, here's how you do this. Here's how you do this correct. And we're going to practice it, right? This is the same thing. It's virtually the same. There's those building blocks. I just told you about them. So what we're going to do is we're going to train you in those, because those are the basics. Those are the foundation. You're going to have to do the work. It doesn't matter if you were doing coaching or self-study, you have to do the work anyway, right? I can't make, even if we're coaching, I can't make you do it. You have to do it anyway. So what this training does is it allows you to learn and get trained and become brilliant in those basics. It also adds an element that I've been adding to even my coaching, and it's called community. So if you think of this word cafe, the benefits of this training can be found in the word cafe. One is community. So I've formed a community around my coaching clients, and it's been just extraordinary. I mean, I'm seeing extraordinary. They are sharing with each other, they're sharing successes, they're meeting with each other, they're giving each other feedback, they're encouraging each other, they're holding each other accountable. So some of the things that you'll get as a result of being in this boot camp community is going to get community, right? So you know other people are there, they're working with you, they're helping you. You're going to get accountability, right? Peer accountability, but also accountability from me, because you're going to be meeting with me once a week, right? Not me personally one-on-one, but meeting in a group, okay? Meeting in a group. And I've purposely limit the group to 20 people, no more than 20 people. So you can get accountability and you get feedback, all right? So just like in a boot camp, in a real boot camp, the trainer or instructor comes around and says, hey, work on this, do that, all right? Work together. So we're going to have our live sessions where I'm going to be jumping around, pairing people up, because I have the technology, we can do that, and giving each group, each person feedback. Okay, work on this, great. You ask me questions and you'll be able to do that. So we're going to get feedback, which is very important. It's going to save you years. We're also going to get encouragement. People get distracted and they get discouraged and they give up. So what we're going to be able to do is to keep you encouraged. I'll keep you encouraged, and your peers will keep you encouraged, and you'll keep other people encouraged. This makes sense. Okay, so this is very, very important. So think of cafe when you think of the benefits of the 8-week smooth speech boot camp training. Now, let's just take a look at something. So what I want to do now is I want to introduce someone to you who has helped me, who's held me accountable, and his work is in the why. Remember, we talked in the beginning about why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do this, right? Think about the thing that you did. Think about the thing that you did or that you wanted to do last year, but didn't do, or this year actually in 2017, something that you wanted to do that didn't do, and you want to do that this year. So I want you to think about that. And actually stay focused on my why. And he's also helped me to become more accountable, right? So that I can walk in my why, stay more accountable and walk in my why. So I'm going to introduce him and let him share just a couple of things about the importance of why and why this bootcamp training can help you stay focused on your why and can help you achieve this smooth, clear, and confident speech. So give me just a second. Hi.
Can you hear me, Michael? If you can hear me, we can, video's not the end of the world if that's not working. Well, I noticed that somebody said they heard me, so I don't know where Michael is, but if you guys can hear me, I'm Tom Harrison. It's really great to be with you guys. I really appreciate this opportunity. It's been a real joy of mine to work with Michael, and I absolutely love what he's doing in his work. So I call my work Walk Your Why. And yeah, I'm sorry you can't see it. I don't know what's up with the video. I'll keep messing with it, but I think that's what Michael's working on in the background. But I'm here. You can hear my voice, and great to be with you. And like Michael said, my work is in helping people with their why, with their reason, and walking that why, living that purpose, being on purpose. And one thing I like to say is a lot of people really want to be on purpose in their life, but oftentimes it's not their own purpose, right? And I have recognized how important it is to really be on purpose, really know what you want to do, be clear about your why in helping anything I do in my life. And in your speech, the more you can have a purpose, a real strong purpose beyond your speech itself, right? You want to be a smooth, clear, confident speaker. But sometimes that alone, is amazing and important as that is simply not enough in the moment, right? So the more strength you have of purpose, and the more clear you are about your why, and the more you remind yourself of that why, the more incentive you have to do the work, right? I mean, Michael's made it very clear. We all know we have to do the work. We have to go through the boot camp, right? The reason it's a boot camp and not a sock camp, right? We can have fun. We can enjoy it. We can enjoy each other's company in the community, in the cafe community that he spoke to. But we all know it takes work to really get to the next level. And I believe that if you're here on this call, that you have a strong reason, you have a strong purpose. And if I can help you get even more clear on that and help you use your why, your purpose, your calling to transcend what I call your why nots, right? Those things that are keeping you from moving forward or have in the past. We all have things in our lives that keep us from going to that next level. And if we don't transcend them, we stay stuck. And whether that's stuck in our speech patterns, or it's stuck in overwhelm or burnout or confusion or doubt. And my guess is that some of you, if not all of you, can relate to those issues as well, right? Just being kept from moving forward. So sorry the video isn't working. I hope you can hear me. I just want to let you know I am here to support you, support the group in staying on purpose and realizing, like Mike said, it's so important to focus on what you want, where you want to go, right? And if you don't have a strong why, if you don't have a strong purpose, it's really hard to be clear and stay clear about where you're going, about what you're trying to achieve. Am I trying to get that new job? Am I trying to have a successful meeting with my colleagues in the company? Am I in a position in the company where I know darn well I know more than the people who are a notch or two or three above me, and I simply can't get there because of my speech? If you're in that position, or maybe it's just at home, and you want to be able to communicate more clearly with your family, you want to be able to communicate more smoothly and clearly and confident when you're at a store, whatever it may be, all of these things are somehow, and you know it, getting in the way of where you really want to go, of that destination at any given moment that is literally being stopped by your speech. So I simply ask you to ask yourselves, why are you here on this call? I think it's safe to assume you're all here because you do in fact want to speak more clearly, more smoothly, more confidently. Yes, maybe you want to stop stuttering. Maybe you want to stop certain patterns of speech that are not working for you. Maybe you speak too fast. I have a tendency to speak too fast. Michael helps me a lot with that. There could be a number of things you want to stop, you want to leave behind. And of course, that's natural, right? You noticed, wow, I'm stuttering. I want to stop that. But what's more empowering? What really works? If that's where you are, then we all know it's going to be really tough to get beyond that if there's not something bigger, something more important. A really strong why, a really strong reason for you to go beyond where you feel you are now. And what I've seen that I think is amazing in Michael's work is so often people who have challenges in their speech, myself included, have been able to go far beyond what they could have ever imagined in their speech, better than some people who are good speakers who did not have the same challenges. So I would love you to aspire to that. And that can be obviously part of your why, part of your purpose. But even then, if you don't have your own personal reason, your strong purpose, your strong why, which might be simply that job, which is very important in the moment, and ultimately goes much deeper, right? Goes much deeper into your calling, into really why you are here. If you don't have that, or some sense of that, then it's going to be really hard to stay in the boot camp, right? If you're going into the military because you have a reason, you want to serve your country, but it's not a strong enough reason, then you're not going to make it through the boot camp, right? If you don't really want to get through that to the other side so that you can make a difference, if there's not a why on the other side of that boot camp, good luck with that. Now, thankfully, this is not a boot camp where you're going to be commanded and demanded. You have to do that for yourself. What we will do, like Michael said, is offer a cafe where everyone is welcome and everyone is expected to be a strong part of the community. Like you said, the community, the accountability, the feedback, all of this is so important, and it all gets stronger with your why. And I don't know if you're still there, Michael, but there you are. Hey, brother.
Hey. Guys, you wouldn't believe what I've just been going through. We try to get back into this meeting. Thank you, Tom, for being there. I apologize.
Absolutely.
Somehow my connection was lost. Tom, go ahead and continue, and then we'll wrap up.
Well, I was pretty much wrapping up. I just wanted to. I'll finish up by just saying, again, I'm confident that I know everybody is on this call for a reason. And I'm confident that there's a much deeper reason you're here. And that's what's next for you. What is your next level? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to walk? What is your journey? And how can you use this opportunity to become a smoother, more clear, more confident speaker to get you to that place? And that's what Michael's all about. That's what I'm here to help you do. And I'd love to see you do it. So let's focus on the why and let go of the why nots in 2018.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. What I want to do now, guys, is to answer any questions for you. Thank you so much, Tom, for being there. And once again, I do apologize, but I don't want to waste our time apologizing. I want to go ahead and answer any questions that you may have about what we talked about today, anything that Tom said. He's still here on the line. Particularly, though, I want to answer questions about the boot camp training. If you give me a moment, I'm going to send you an email if you register for this webinar. And we have a little raffle, right? That we're going to be giving away a couple of ultimate self-study ultimate courses. So give me just a moment. Hang in here with me, and we're going to be done in just a few minutes. But let me send you this email, and let me give you this link as well. Okay. So if you have questions, please enter those into the question and answer, or if you have to, into the chat, and we'll begin to answer those questions for you now. So I'm sending you an email, and you should be getting it momentarily. Okay. Let's see here. We're going to get this out to you now. All right, there we go. Just sent your email. I'm also going to be pasting the link here. If you can access that link, please go ahead and do so. And I'll be checking your questions in just a moment. Okay, so take a look at this boot camp, and I have a special offer for you. And the offer is, for those of you that take advantage of this boot camp today, you're going to get $150 off the cost today only. And here is the code for that: Boot Camp Webinar Special. Boot Camp Webinar Special. It's a coupon code. You enter that in, and you will be able to register and get $150 taken off of the already low price of $9.95. I know that sounds kind of salesman-y, but it's true. It's $9.95. It's a third of our regular coaching. I wouldn't be offering this if I didn't think you were going to get results. There are those of you that have been wanting to do coaching, but man, $3,000, $4,000 just doesn't fit my budget at the time. You've been struggling with the self-study. This is what you want to do. You can always do the coaching later, and you can do it at a discounted price, right? I'm not going to charge you the same thing if you've already gone through this. But trust me, if you can't do this, then coaching is not going to work for you either. So everything you need going to be given to you. We're going to make sure you get it in this boot camp. We've limited the number of people to a maximum of 20 people. We believe that's the number of people that can create an energy and the kind of community that we're looking for. And if you take advantage today, take $150 off of $9.95. Now, after today, you have until Monday where you can take $100 off, and that coupon code is on the page. So if you don't do it today, but you do it, say tomorrow or Monday, you can take $100 off, okay? After that, then it's $9.95, which is still a great deal, all the way up until we start, which will be the 16th of January, okay? The schedule is on the page. Everything you need to know is on the page. If you have questions, though, there's a little chat bubble in the bottom right-hand corner. Click that, ask your questions. I'll be pretty much available in the next few days, for the rest of the year, actually, and I'll answer your questions. If you need to schedule a session with me, only if you need to talk to me one-on-one about the boot camp, only about the boot camp, or one-on-one coaching, there's a link on the page where you can do that as well, okay? Let me answer some questions, then we'll do the raffle. In fact, let's do the raffle now. Let me just get in here and look at our participants. And what I'm going to do is, I know all of you are here. So first of all, if you don't have access to the Self-Study Ultimate, please type, let's see what I'm going to get you to type. Type no into the chat box. You're on this call. You don't have the Self-Study, right? Ultimate. Type no. That way I know who to raffle this to. And we'll take a look, and this will just be random. Okay, just type no, I don't have it. And we'll select a couple of people to give this to. But not, so some people, you have it, but you're not sure. Okay, no. So we got lots of people that don't have it. All right. And Tom, if you can, well, I don't know if you can see this, Tom, but if you can just double check for me. Yeah, double check. I'm going to call out some names. And if you can just make sure that you just write the first name down, and I'll write it down as well in case I miss someone, okay?
Yeah, I can write it down.
All right, so we're gonna just wrap off a couple of ultimate programs. It's not something I do often, maybe once a year. All right, good. So let me just scroll through here. There's some folks that I see who've kind of been with me for a while. And then we'll answer some questions. So Dorcas, you've been with me for a while. So Dorcas Miller, we're going to go ahead and give you access to the Self-Study Ultimate. And I might even give out, I said I was going to do 2. I might do 3 or 4 today, actually. Okay. Might do 3 or 4 of these today. Let's see. Someone wrote to me today and said it was their birthday. Go ahead and type your name in. If you're still here, let me know who that is who said that it's your birthday. Go ahead and respond and type in your name. If you said that it's your birthday, type that in. And of course, don't everyone say it's my birthday today. Okay, let's see here. Let's go with, let's see who this is. I'm going to go with Shahid. We're going to give one to Shahid. Okay, Shahid. And I'm going to do another one to Helena. Helena Rujic. I don't know if that's how you say your name, but Helena. All right, so we've done 3 today. We may do another one in the new year, but I've done 3. I said I was going to do 2, but I did 3. So that's going to be it for that. Thank you, guys. Not the ultimate. Okay. All right. And actually, okay, so Dorcas, I'm actually going to do another one since you have done parts of the self-study. I'm going to do one more. Is there anyone, let's see, Tom, call out a country for me. Just call out a country and let's see if there's anyone from that country.
Mexico.
Is there anyone from Mexico?
India.
Well, there's probably a lot of people from India. Is there anybody from Mexico on the call? No. We got someone from Bangladesh. Okay.
That's close.
Yeah. What's your name from Bangladesh? I can only see part of it. From Bangladesh. Albania. Wow. Tasmin. Okay. Tasmin, you're going to get access. And you know what? I hardly ever.
Tasmin was the country.
Yeah. I hardly ever give I've hardly ever given any self-studies to people from Nigeria. So I'm going to give one more. I'm being very generous today. We got Jeffrey. Jeffrey, we're going to give you access to the ultimate. So we've given out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Okay. Jeffrey Chidobe. All right. Tasmin, what is your last name, Tasmin? Okay.
Michael, I think that's the place.
Yeah. All right. Tasmin from Bangladesh. Okay. Now, all of you that I have provided access to, I want you to go ahead and make sure you email me. Go on my website, look at the chat bubble, email me and say, hey, remember me? You gave me access. That way I'll have a record of it because I've just written down your name. So head over to my website, email me. Now, anyone have any questions? If you have questions about the boot camp, remember, a small percentage of people, unfortunately, do well in the self-study. It's been proven in any self-studies, right? In any industry, so not just this one. And Tom can tell you because he's done a lot of self-studies, he's done a lot of groups. Just a small percentage of people do well in self-studies, right,
Yep.
Tom? Right.
That's the way it is.
A larger percentage of people do well in private coaching, but as we said, there's a huge number of people in between. So we've created something in between for you. Be meeting once a week. You'll get access to the self-study if you don't already have, which is $383 by itself. Okay, it's $383 by itself. You get access to a private community that only you and other people like you will be there. You'll be able to ask questions. You'll be able to connect with each other. We'll have those once a week meetings. You will also be able to get all those things that we talked about. There's the community, there's the accountability, there's the feedback, and there's the encouragement. And those are the things that separate those who are successful in the self-study and the coaching from those who are not. So we're making sure that you get those things. We're going to be focusing on those 3 basic building blocks, which are a relaxed, flexible mindset, which are modeling and airflow. Once you get those, 80 to 90% of your speaking issues will be taken care of, right? If you just focus on doing those things. All right. So let me look at some questions here. All right. What days will the boot camp be held and at what times? All right. That's going to be on the website, but let me just head over there right now and take a look just to get that to you. So they're going to be on Tuesdays, Eastern Standard Time from, and I want to make sure I get this right for you. There's a place here where it says view the training schedule from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, I realize not everyone's going to be able to make all the sessions. They will be recorded, but some people say, oh, well, I don't have time. So I want you to think about this. And here's something that I really want you to think about. Let's just say you decide that you don't want to do anything, that you want to just continue to do whatever you're doing now, you know, watching free videos or maybe even doing the self-study. And let's say that you have a job interview that's coming up and you don't get that job because of your speech. And I've talked to numerous people, even just over the last couple of months, that this has happened to. So you have a job interview that's coming up. You miss it. And let's say that job would have netted you about $5,000 more a year. Okay. You see where I'm going? It's $5,000 more a year. And you spend, let's just say you did coaching, you did full-on coaching, and you spent, say, $3,000. So now you've spent $3,000. The next job that comes up, you get that job. What do you make? You make $2,000 that year, right? Because you got a job making $5,000. You covered $3,000 of your coaching, you made $2,000. What happens the next year? You're still making $5,000 more than what you would have been making had you not improved your speech. Now you make $5,000. What about the next year? Well, it compounds because now you've acquired some skills, some experiences that you're able to leverage and get an even better job. Now, people, I'm not exaggerating. I've helped people this year double their incomes, get jobs paying them $10,000 more, get jobs. One guy was making $19,000, $20,000, was making $40,000 now and he couldn't get those jobs. He literally came because he couldn't get those jobs. So I have person after person who we've helped get jobs and double their income. So the investment that you're making is literally, we're not even talking about the social, the psychological, and the health benefits of working on your speech and investing in that. We're talking about financial benefits. And some of you, that's not important, but for others of you, it is. Okay. So there's a financial return. Why am I talking about all this? Because some people say, well, I don't have time. Well, it's an investment. So you have to, it's one day a week, try to make time. Take a lunch break, right? Try to make time. So to answer your question, it's a long answer to your question. Starts January 16th. The whole schedule is right there on the page, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. And you can find, there's various links. In fact, I'll put a link on there later where you can translate that into your own time. How to maintain smooth and constant airflow. Umesh. All right. I want you to go back and check out our webinar, Airflow plus Free Flow equals Smooth Speech. I believe that's the name of it. Search that on YouTube. You'll find it. And we get into maintaining smooth constant air. I actually give you the techniques. Now, someone says, who is Tom? So Tom, and this is where I got cut off, and I was going to introduce Tom. So Tom is the guy who has helped me clarify and stay focused on my why. He's the guy who helps keep me accountable. And yes, I need accountable. In fact, Tom and I both have enrolled in coaching programs. I know I've spent over $20,000, $21,000 over the last couple of years. Tom has spent more. So everyone needs accountability. So if I'm asking you to invest in yourself, I've done it too. So is Tom. Tom's the guy I go to help keep me accountable and focused so that I can stay focused on my why. Tom, do you have anything to add to that? Like as far as who you are?
I think I probably said it, but I just want to appreciate you saying that. And it's so true that, first of all, I think we all get it on some level that we can't do it on our own, right? There's so many things, if we're really honest about it, if there's anything we've done of meaning, we probably didn't do it alone. And in fact, we never do anything alone, right? There's always some support, even if we're not actively engaged with people. And the more we can engage with others, the more support we have, and the more we invest in that support, the more powerful it is. So, I mean, this is the whole reason behind this particular structure that Michael's offering is it's allowing each of you who joins this boot camp to empower one another. That's a little bit different than the boot camp you went through. You probably didn't have a whole lot of chance to interact with when you're doing the push-ups, you probably weren't able to go over to the next guy and say, hey, let me help you do this, right?
Right.
In this case, though, we are going to be able to work together to really empower one another. So that's going to be a huge difference from doing something on your own where, yeah, if you've got the go-to-itiveness, if you've got the drive, and if you have a super, super strong why, you can make the self-study work by all means. But the fact is, few people do it, right?
Exactly.
So hope you join us.
Thanks, Tom. Jeffrey was asking, where's the boot camp? So the boot camp will be held virtually, that is online. So all of my coaching for the past several years has been online using Zoom. And it won't be a webinar like this. It'll be where I can activate the video and audio. So it'll be like you're there live. And everyone's audio and video won't be active the whole time. We'll be activating it. We have a way where we can put people into teams and groups, right? So you can go off in your own room and practice. We can jump around and visit you. That's important. So they'll be held online, and you'll get a link to that. It'll be a private link, and only us will be in that room working on our speech. So I hope that answered your question. You tried Ultimate Smooth Speech, good for presentation, but struggling in conversation. It's another question. Yes. Some people have been able to achieve great results in presentation, but it's been a little hard in conversation. We cover that. We'll be working on that. Like you'll have questions, well, how do I do that? Well, obviously, we want you to be able to speak smoothly in conversations, and it's a matter of transferring those presentation skills to your conversation. How do you do that? It's practice. You have to practice using your modeling style in real conversations. There's also a way you can practice conversations in private by yourself. You say, well, how can I converse by myself? Well, there's a way you can do it. We will talk about that in the boot camp. We talk about that in the coaching. It's too extensive for me to talk about now. But yes, you can transfer these skills in the conversation. It does require practice. Okay. Any other questions about the boot camp or the content that we covered today? I see some discussion talking about being around people who encourage and being around people who are discouraging. And certainly one of the things I talk about in 21 Steps is that you want to be around people who are going to support you and encourage you. And that's what we're forming both in my private coaching and the boot camp, is communities of people who are moving in the same direction as you. If you're around toxic people, then you need to limit your contact with them or eliminate your contact with them. Sometimes it's not possible to eliminate, but you can always limit it in one way or another. So that's important. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Any other questions or comments? So I've already emailed you a link. If you didn't get it, come to my website, type into the chat box that you did not get the link to the boot camp. The schedule, if you scroll down, the schedule, every single session is on that page. And if a lot of people say, well, I can meet on Wednesday instead of Tuesday, then I can change it to Wednesday, but I can't fit everyone. It's a boot camp training. It's not private coaching, so it's different. So try to work your schedule around that time. We can look at that. So everything you need is on the page. If you need to meet with me to discuss if you'll get the results you're looking for, I promise you, if you do the work, you will, right? Just like I have people getting results from the self-study, people getting results from the coaching, they're doing the work. Everything is there. Remember the code. Let me type this code in there for you. Again, to get $150 off is only good for today. I need to scroll back up. It's only good for today. And I'm going to put this in here again. It is boot camp special, right? Tomorrow, if you come tomorrow and you want to enroll, or Monday, only up until Monday, there's another code that's already on the website. You can use that to take $100 off of the boot camp. Here's what I would not like to see. I'd not like to see 6 months from now, a year from now, we come back, and those of you out there who could have done this, who probably should have done it, you're still struggling with your speech. You're missing opportunities. You've missed opportunities. You've missed job opportunities. You've been quiet in social opportunities, and you're still struggling. You're still bouncing around. You don't want to spend the money, but you could. Maybe you went on vacation. I've had people tell me, I'm going on vacation, I can't do this. Or I went on vacation and I can't do this. Vacation's gone, right? What about the rest of your life? It comes down to what Tom said about your why. Why do you want to do this? I did it some 20 years ago because I knew that I was called to teach, to coach, to counsel, to preach, actually. I used to be a preacher. I became a professor. I was a relationship coach. Now I'm a speech coach. And so I knew that I was never going to be fulfilled or happy unless I transformed my speech. So I had to do it. That was my why. That was my calling. And so everything I did moved me in that direction. What's your why? Why do you want to do this? For some of you, it's because you want to pass that interview that you have that's coming. Some of you have children that you don't want to pass this along to. Oh, Michael, you can't pass it along. Well, yes, you can. How do you think we learn how to speak? We model the people around us. So if your children see you and hear you stuttering, doesn't mean they're going to stutter. It means they have a greater chance of stuttering because they're going to be doing what? Modeling you. Some of you don't want to pass this along to your children. Some of you just want to feel free and liberated. One of my clients, Tapasia, and many other clients, probably every other client, but she said this. She feels liberated and free. And that's the way I felt. I felt free, like a big, heavy, wet, black blanket was lifted off, and I felt free. I said, man, I can do whatever I want to do now, right? Because my speech wasn't holding me back. All right. So we're going to wrap up now. Any other questions? Got a few more questions here. How many hours a day for 8 weeks? So if you get the private coach, $100 off to the 31st. You said it's on Monday here. Okay. Got a few questions. Let me work through these questions really quickly. How many hours a day for 8 weeks? So you'll be meeting 1 hour a week. How many hours a day should you be working? 2 answers to that. You completely immerse yourself. So it's all the time, right? You're constantly thinking and reminding yourself, okay, make sure that you take your time, slow down, make sure that you extend your words, make sure you model, speak like your model. So it's all the time. Literally, the people who immerse themselves in this are the ones who actually do well. So to answer your question, how many hours a day? It's during your waking hours, you're going to be thinking about improving your speech. Why? Because you're going to be speaking and thinking anyway. You'll be out working, talking to people, thinking, oh, I can't say this. Oh, man, I just got stuck here. Well, you might as well control that train of thinking and think the things you want to think. Oh, wait a minute, you just messed up. However, just relax, slow down, take your time, extend your words here. These are not things I'm making up. These are things my clients tell me that they say to themselves that helps them. So it's all the time. Now, you need to also spend anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes a day of formal practice where you're formally sitting down practicing. You don't have to do it in one sitting. You can do 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 20 minutes here. I have a client who, if he has a 30-minute lunch break, he takes 10 or 15 minutes to practice. If he has a 15-minute break, he takes 5 minutes to practice. If you're driving to work, he has to drive to work 2 hours. He uses that time to listen to audio and practice. He drives back home for 2 hours. If you're driving to work and it's 15 minutes, take 15 minutes to listen and practice, right? Everyone has time. I work with people who have families. They're surgeons, they're doctors, they're engineers. They're busy. They have families. They work all day. They make time. The people who don't make time don't improve their speech. You do have the time. You can embed this and integrate this into your schedule. You may need some help. That's what we're here for. We'll help you strategize, but you do have time. I hope I answered your question. All right. So someone says, hey, you sent me an email saying I could get the private coaching for $100 off. So it wasn't private coaching, but it's actually the boot camp, $100 off to the 31st. If you got that email, it's a very special group of people, and I will honor that, right? I'll honor that. So you just let me know and we'll take care of that, okay? It's a very special group of people who received that. Everyone else who's watching this webinar or listening to it, you have until Monday to get the $100 off. You have today to get $150 off, okay? So I always honor something that I've said before. Let's see. Someone said something funny that I won't repeat. Was it just for me? Yes, well, it was for you and a small group of people. Okay, great. Answer that question. All right, let's see. Any other questions here? Michael, you've spoken a bit faster than your other videos. Yes, that is correct. I have spoken faster because I wanted to make sure that I got in everything I needed to get in this video. And I had a lot of stuff that I needed to say, and I wanted to get Tom. Unfortunately, I got cut off. Thank God you guys were able to stay on. So I did speak faster. And I want you to know that when you develop your speech, you will get to the place where you're able to speed up your speech when you need to, and it still be smooth, okay? So you don't have to always speak slow. There are times, but you need to first get control over your speech, right? Where you can speak a little slower and smooth, actually dynamically, where it's a little slow, sometimes a little fast. So if I want to speak fast, I can speak fast for an hour or for 2 hours or for 8 hours if I want to, but I usually don't want to. So this is not a matter of, oh yeah, I got to slow down my speech. That's just not who I am. No, you have to slow down your speech initially, right? But you can get control over your speech so that when you need to speak fast, you can do it smoothly, clearly, and confidently. That's where we're trying to get you. Okay, so I hope I answered your question. Great comment. Thanks for that. All right, let's see. Anything else? Anything else? I'm just going to, you don't want kids because you're afraid to pass this along. Hey, then I want to encourage you to do something. Whatever you can, do something about this now, and you won't pass this along, okay? Fear and anxiety, check out a video on YouTube, Joseph Campbell, Hero's Journey. All right, great resource. Thanks, Kyle, look into it. All right, good. If there's no other questions, and there are a couple of other questions, I want to make sure that I answer your questions here. Do you speak slowly for a job interview? How do you set the pace? Yes, great question, Michael. When you're in a job interview is just like a series of many presentations, right? You're presenting yourself, you're presenting your ideas and your thoughts. What you want to do is you want to start out super slow. Why? Because many people start out fast, and then you're already feeling kind of anxious. Anyone would, right? You start out fast, Your mind starts getting cloudy. You start stumbling over your speech. Then you start feeling self-conscious about it. Then it goes downhill. You start out slow. You'll feel your heart rate start to come down. You'll start to relax. And you'll find that you're able to speak more clearly and smoothly. And as you get into the interview, you can slowly speed up your speech, but not too fast. So yes, you speak slowly. You start super slow. All right. Many research, I think I mentioned it, that people who speak slower project greater confidence. All right. Not people who speak super slow all the time, but just people who take their time and speak slow. And yes, there are people who speak fast who are very intelligent and also project confidence. We're not talking about them. We're talking about people who struggle with their speech, who need to learn how to speak smoothly, clearly, and confidently. You need to slow your speech down so that you can gain control and create a smoother rhythm. So I hope I answered your question. Do you have any advice on what to do when you get stuck in the moment and your mind just goes blank and stops? Great question. So a lot of times it's not about that moment specifically. It's about what you've been doing up to that moment. So if you want a trick or something like that, yeah, I can give you some things, and sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. It's like asking, hey, is there a way that I can get in and win the Olympics? Right? It's like, okay, can you give me some tricks that will allow me to go in and win the Olympics? Or can you give me some tips or tricks that allow me just to jump down and do 50 push-ups? No, I really can't, because you got to work yourself up to it. So it's about developing a habit that when you're in that situation, you've learned how to talk to yourself. You've learned how to breathe. You've learned how to slow down, so that if your mind feels kind of cloudy, you've learned to just take deeper breaths, slow yourself down, move slower, speak slower, get yourself into a rhythm. But what also happens is that there's hardly ever a situation where I get into where I go cloudy. It's virtually never happens. It doesn't mean I don't forget things, but I never I can talk to 1,000 people, talk to 500, talk to 100, talk to this person. I may be anxious, but I know what to do so I don't go blank or cloudy. Why? It's habit. So actually, I can't give you any advice on when it just goes blank. What I can tell you is if you go through this process, you'll get to the place where that doesn't happen. You won't go blank. You may feel anxious, but you won't go blank. Okay. Now, if you do go blank, you stop, you take some breaths, you reset, you start where you left off. You make sure that you have some notes and you pick up where you left off. Okay. That's what I would do. If I just all of a sudden, if I was speaking, I forgot something that I wanted to say, I would just stay relaxed. I'd pick up wherever I thought I left off. Okay. So I hope that that's helpful for you. Pierre said, hi, Michael. Hello. Any tips for maintaining eye contact while speaking? Yes. Many people who struggle with their speech don't make good eye contact. In fact, I've seen that they'll look up to their right or they'll look up to their left. Usually it's one of them. They'll kind of look up. And it's really a matter of just retraining yourself to fix your eye contact on. It doesn't mean you stare like this, right, where it's kind of weird, right? But you learn, you practice, right, speaking with people and making better eye contact. And this all comes into the training where you're learning to slow your speech down. You're learning to be centered and present and not be thinking ahead and worried about what they're thinking of you and worried about what you're going to say next. You're just centered, you're present, and you're focused on them. Tom, did you have something that you wanted to add?
Can I offer one thing? You were just speaking about eye contact and the importance of that. And I think that also speaks to the comment about going blank. Sometimes if we do go blank or something, well, oftentimes it's because we're too focused on what we're trying to say, which seems ironic, but we're so focused on what we're trying to say that it's so important we say something in particular, and then we just forget what that particular thing is. And so I find that if you make that eye contact, and if you put your attention on the other person or the other people, whoever you're speaking to, that can make all the difference in the world. Because when we're speaking, are we really trying to make a point, or do we want to communicate? And if we're trying to communicate, it becomes not about me, but about us. And if it's about us, then we can pay attention to the people we're speaking to. And it's amazing what that can do to bridge the gaps that might feel like blank space or, oh, I forgot. I just want to put that out there.
Thank you.
Pay attention to who we're talking to.
Thanks. Okay, great. If you have not received that email, please check your spam or junk. Often emails go there for one reason or another. I did send it out, had a couple of hundred people who registered for this webinar, and I just sent it out and I see where it went out. Don't want to send it out to everyone again, but again, come to my website and say, hey, I didn't receive the offer. So go right to pro90d.com. Down in the bottom corner, even if you're on your mobile, there's a little chat bubble. Type in there, make sure you put your email address, and I'll send you a link to the page. So really, the email is just directing you to the page. That's all it's doing. So maybe I'll send that email out again, but come to my website, put your name, your email address. I'll send you the special code and a link to the page. All right. Tom, so did you have anything else?
Just a couple quick things to wrap it up. First of all, I noticed the comment that I believe it's Samir said it was her birthday, so you may have to give out a sixth one, brother. Because I think
Samir.
she said she's having some connection problems. So I want to make sure that person's included. And
Okay.
also, just quickly, I wanted to just
Samir.
ask everyone to ask yourselves, why specifically for you, why do you want, and ask yourself, why do I want smooth, clear, confident speech? And when do I want it? And I would also ask you to follow that up by saying, giving yourself an affirmation. I do want smooth, clear, confident speech because, whatever your reason is, because I want to get this job interview, because I want to be able to communicate with my colleagues, because I want to be able to talk to my wife, whatever it is, right? For you. And then also say, I want it now. So I just want to put that out there. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. A pleasure being with you. I actually am a real person. Next time I'll show up, I think.
Thank you so much, Tom, for being here today, especially I think this only happened to me one other time where the video totally went out and I had to restart my computer and it took a long time and I couldn't get back to the webinar. So thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to be sending you guys some email. I'll send you a replay as soon as I get that together. Check your email for the offer. Remember the offer that I typed in, so write that down. If this ends today, the $150 off. Look forward to seeing you guys inside the boot camp or inside the private coaching, whichever is going to work best for you. Thank you so much. We will see you all the next time. Okay. Bye-bye.